the Nissan Pathfinder has been with us for a long time. It's been 36 years since the first one arrived in 1986, and suddenly, I feel old. After taking last year off, the 2022 model is back and it sports a handsome redesign. Just look for yourself. Big, rugged, and a familiar nameplate, that sounds like a recipe for success. The only trouble is the Pathfinder plays in a crowded sandbox. The main competition comes from the Toyota Highlander and the Honda Pilot. It's a bit bigger than a Kia Sorento, but smaller than a Kia Telluride or a Hyundai Palisade. You could also consider a Ford Explorer or a Chevy Traverse. What I'm saying is, if you need a three-row crossover, you have plenty of options. So let's see how the new 2022 Pathfinder stands up to the others. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the CarGurus YouTube channel, and then hit the bell so you get a notification the next time we publish a video. Over its life, the Pathfinder has seen more changes than most vehicles. When it first arrived, it was a body-on-frame SUV based on the old Nissan hardbody pickup. Then, for its second act, it showed up with unibody construction. In 2005, it came back with body-on-frame. 2013, a unibody crossover again. After taking last year off, the Pathfinder has returned for 2022 with some seriously rugged styling, and you can option it with all-wheel drive, which really is all most shoppers are going to care about. But this is still a front-wheel drive based unibody crossover, so despite its name, don't expect to take the Pathfinder as far off the path as you would a Toyota 4Runner or a Ford Bronco or a Jeep Wrangler. Nissan is selling the Pathfinder with a range of great color options. This Scarlet Ember is good, but Obsidian Green Pearl is better. You can even get it in brown, Mocha Almond Pearl. Up front, we have Nissan's signature V-Motion grille in chrome, but if that's not your thing, you can buy a Pathfinder with this bit blacked out. The headlight DRL combo looks good, and it sort of mimics the roof design if you spec your Pathfinder with a two-tone color palette. Up here, these optional black crossbars, they sit awkwardly high over the also optional black roof rails. And now, the max load capacity is only 100 pounds, so you're not going to be putting a tent on top of your Pathfinder. The C-pillar has this blacked out portion splitting it, adding a little style to the profile, and at the rear we have Pathfinder spelled out wide on the tailgate. I also think the way Nissan designed this black rubber bumper on the rear of the Pathfinder is effective at bringing some of that rugged style. The new Pathfinder definitely looks new, but you're going to find the same old engine under the hood. The good news is that Nissan's been shipping this engine basically forever, so you can count on reliability. It makes 284 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque, which, to be honest, doesn't feel like it's up to the job. The Pathfinder is downright sluggish in eco mode. It's uninspiring in normal, and only slightly more engaging in sport mode. On the bright side, Nissan got rid of the old Pathfinder's continuously variable transmission, or CVT, and it replaced it with a 9-speed automatic. The new transmission does a nice job of managing our test vehicle's power routed through to all-wheel drive. I will say it's not the quickest shifting equipment when you use these paddles. In a vehicle like this, you're best off just letting the transmission do its thing. Forget about the paddles. Nissan can also boast a pretty impressive towing capacity on the Pathfinder. Properly equipped, this guy can tow up to 6,000 pounds. Now, that's more than the competition, and it makes the Pathfinder worth special consideration if you tow regularly. The steering is vague, but the brakes are strong, and that's important in a vehicle of this size. I also noticed that it's very quiet when you're driving the Pathfinder. That is undoubtedly due to the acoustic glass windshield. Now, I noticed the same thing in the Nissan Armada. Turns out, when it comes to a quiet drive, Nissan really knows what it's doing. Body roll is notable on all three-row crossovers, although the Kia Sorento and Telluride do a decent job of minimizing it. In the Pathfinder, well, this crossover feels significantly bigger than many of the competitors. Of course, big isn't necessarily bad. I mean, the Pathfinder is pretty spacious, particularly in the front row, where I have great leg room, head room, shoulder room, hip room, all the room I could use. And the second row is also pretty comfortable. Now, in the third row, you can actually fit a full-size adult, believe me. You just have to ask whoever is in the second row to slide forward a few inches. Nissan also includes its Easy Flex one-touch release, which makes getting in and out of the Pathfinder's third row almost dignified. As our new father videographer told me, the big news with this is that it works with a front-facing child seat in the second row. I can see that being a huge benefit. Now granted, it doesn't work with our rear-facing child seat. We tried that one, no dice. The cup holders are smartly placed, there's good storage ahead of the shifter, and this optional panoramic sunroof didn't cook the cabin on a sunny day. Lots of credit there goes to the Pathfinder's good AC system. The shifter isn't exactly a traditional design, but it's easy enough to use after a few days with the Pathfinder. We're not driving a top-of-the-line Pathfinder. This is an SV trim. It sits above the S, but below the SL and the Platinum. And still, despite this being just the SV, and a pre-production model at that, I'm really impressed with this car's material fit and finish. It's pretty good. I didn't hear any squeaks or rattles during my week with the Pathfinder. And while these aren't, the best materials in the world, and there is a lot of this piano black plastic, which I personally hate, everything feels like it's really well fit together. But why don't you let us know what you think? Take a look, leave a note in the comments. Nissan's approach to technology seems to follow the mantra, don't annoy people. But at the same time, it doesn't really impress either. The 2022 Pathfinder may look sharp, but that same glow up doesn't necessarily apply to the tech. Being an SV trim, we get this 8-inch screen instead of the Platinum trim's 12.3-incher. We also don't get navigation to flesh out the feature list on this system, but that's alright. Everyone uses Google Maps anyway. And Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are standard equipment, so that's good. There's also a USB-A and a USB-C port for the front seats and in the back. You can spec a Pathfinder with a wireless phone charger, a Wi-Fi hotspot, and a Bose premium stereo, which you're gonna want because our test car did not have the Bose stereo and it left a lot to be desired. There just wasn't enough bass, and this is coming from someone who doesn't usually ask for a lot of bass, and the highs aren't as crisp as they could be. Now on the bright side, when it comes to safety tech, most of what Nissan offers, it offers as standard equipment. Nissan's Safety Shield comes on all models and includes most of the active safety features we've come to expect. If you want steering assist and adaptive cruise control with stop and go capability, then pick a Pathfinder with Pro Pilot Assist, something that's now standard on the SV trim and up. Our test car has seating for 7 because we have these captain's chairs, but you can get the Pathfinder with a middle bench seat, and that ups capacity to 8. At the rear, we have 16.6 cubic feet of cargo space, and honestly, that's pretty good. 45 cubic feet behind the second row is less impressive, and 80.5 behind the first row is a lot, but still less than a Honda Pilot or Toyota Highlander. When it comes to price, the 2022 Pathfinder looks like it might be a better deal than the Toyota Highlander, but I'm not certain that it is, because while this vehicle has a lower starting price and higher towing capacity, it's not as good to drive. And those price tags get a lot closer together the higher you climb the trim ladder. And then there's fuel economy, which just isn't that impressive in the Pathfinder. The EPA says I should have seen 21 miles per gallon in the city, 27 on the highway, and 23 in combined driving with our four-wheel drive test vehicle. But I only saw 20 miles per gallon in combined driving. So the fact that Nissan doesn't offer the Pathfinder with a hybrid powertrain, something that Toyota does offer with the Highlander, it just makes this feel a little less cutting edge. At the end of the day, in order to take a dominant lead in this crowded field, the Nissan Pathfinder needed to do something to set itself apart. And now the 4th generation Pathfinder did not do that. The 5th generation I will say it has absolutely succeeded in making itself a relevant and worthy competitor in a field that is filled to the brim with quality choices. This is a marked improvement over the old Pathfinder. But is it better than the rest? I'm not convinced. So let us know what you think in the comments section below and head to CarGurus.com to read our full written review. Don't forget to subscribe to the CarGurus YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.